Can't hear our mics, just yours.
And that mic probably picks it up.
Fine, eh?
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order regular council meeting for Monday, November 21st, 2022. Approval of the agenda, please. Council Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. That the November 21st, 2022 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Nukasana. Correct me when I'm wrong. Nixana, thank you. And I probably pronounced it 3 times different ways today. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes. October 26th, 2022, special council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Okay, take the recommendation. Councilor Dussault.
That the October 26, 2022 special minutes of the council be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Council Norbury. Any errors or omissions? Staff? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Councilor Dussault, I'll get you to shut your mics off tonight. For some reason, I can't shut them off up here. Perfect, thank you. 3.2, November 7th, 2022, inaugural meeting of council. Recommendation, please. Council Norbury.
That the November 7th, 2022 inaugural meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Dussault. Any errors or omissions? Staff? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes from council? Okay. Staff? Nothing? Okay. Consent agenda. Take the recommendation. Councilor Gillick.
Can I actually bring a couple of things out, 7.2 and 7.3?
At the end, we'll do that.
Okay. That all items in the November 21st, 2022 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Carried. Anything from council want to brought forward for discussion? Councillor Gillick.
Could we bring out 7.2 and 7.3? I just have a couple of questions.
7.2 for discussion. Seconder, Councillor, sorry, you got to tell me one more time. Nokasana, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Gillick.
So I am looking at the asset retirement obligation. I'm assuming that this is something the province is bringing in for December 2023. So I'm just wondering where we're at with that.
Staff.
Thank you. The asset retirement obligation, yes, it is a new accounting standard, and we are going to be budgeting for this in the upcoming budget. We do not have the expertise in-house to be able to do this, and this is something that's a higher level that would require like engineering firm or something of that caliber to set up for us. And once we have it set up, then we will be able to maintain going forward.
Councillor Gillick.
Thank you very much. And then the purchasing policy, so where are we sitting with that? So they're saying that we haven't quite met that. So does that mean we're just gonna review that at policies and procedures?
Ms. Torval?
I'm good to go, right? Thank you. Yes, we will be, and we are reinforcing that policies, purchasing policy is followed. We do have a new revised purchasing policy that will be coming forward maybe in December or January. It's coming forward soon. It's ready to come forward, it's just fitting in, getting it onto an agenda to come forward.
Anything else, Councilor Jilic?
I would like to ask a question about 7.3.
Okay, well, just 1 second. Anything else from council in regards to the 7.2? Councilor Norberry?
No.
No? Anybody else? Councilor Noxana? Noxana?
I was just wondering what the impact on the retirement obligation is for us. Like, is there a financial impact? Are we retiring equipment early? Are we retiring assets? Or is it just basically policies that have to come through that are already being followed?
Okay, I'll go to staff, but I'm assuming it's going to be for staffing. But, Ms. Torval?
Thank you, council. I don't know the extent of the impacts, but I do know that it is something that is legislated, and now it's something that we will have to carry forward. So I'm sure there will be, as we get into implementing this, that we will be bringing forward, or there will be reports on what we're doing and the, yeah, and everything that's the impacts. Yeah, it's brand new, so, yeah.
And just my understanding from what you just said tonight, you'll be bringing some of this forward in upcoming meeting? Okay, perfect. Councillor Jilic?
So this letter from the ambulance was,
So hang on 1 second. We're going to bring 7.3 for discussion. Need a seconder? Councillor Norberry? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Jilic?
thanks for your patience. I'm gonna
Problem?
get
No,
this.
it's all learning procedure.
So it's talking about, to follow up on the initiatives and solutions available to your community. So I'm just wondering, does that mean we've already talked to the ambulance on this kind of stuff? Or is this in general, like, were they just referring to the agenda 7.4?
Yeah, so we actually, I can answer that. We just did in the previous council, had a Zoom call with the president, Troy Clifford, just to kind of go over on, and we can do it again, so council, in case council has other questions, but it was in regards to what was happening with our ambulance station here in regards to, were they able to fill the positions with them changing the specs and stuff, and that's kind of what the letter's talking about. So it doesn't mean that we can't put a motion on the floor to have staff reach out to them to arrange a delegation, whether it be in person or via Zoom. It would just have to come from council. Okay, any other council? Councillor Norberry.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. So, just so council is aware, I've been speaking with some local paramedics in our community. I'm going to be bringing forth a report for a letter of support to the Ministry of Health regarding our BCEHS. There's a little bit of background about our staffing and what I think our paramedics are advocating for. So, yeah, I would happily like to talk to BCEHS again to figure out how we can continue to advocate for our paramedics in town, because we definitely need them. So I'll make a motion that we reach out. We have staff reach out to Mr. Clifford to update staff on the state of BC paramedics.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Jilic. Any discussion? All in favor? Ms. Torval.
Just to clarify, council, Mr. Clifford is the president of the union and not the BCEHS, just for that clarity.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I was about to say the same thing, but it doesn't hurt for to meet with the union, have their insight of what their philosophy is, and they have a wider outlook too. They're hearing from all the other rural communities that are like Tumble Ridge that are having problems with whether it's staffing or having a second unit available. So I think it's great to meet with them, and then we can still reach out to BC Ambulance as well, different group. Councilor Norbury.
Would it be appropriate to have like a group meeting with everyone involved, or should we do one at a time? Might be a good idea to have both, but at the same time, in saying that, sometimes it is best to hear from, the workers versus hearing from the administration, because sometimes you get a different story, but I mean, I wouldn't be against talking to both at the same time or setting up two meetings.
I think we've put the motion on the floor, it's passed. I mean, we can't bring it forward or back for reconsideration. The only concern I have is one is union representation, and then the other one is gonna be the working party. So again, I think you can, you get information from the union side and some of the details and stuff like we did previous. And then obviously hear from BC Ambulances, BCHS, their concerns and situations. I know they, don't hold me to the number, I think it's 570 new positions for BC Ambulance for paramedics. Now they are trying to go Canada-wide or North America-wide to try and find those bodies to fill those positions. So I think if we meet separately, I think we get maybe more out of it, but that's up to council. We're good with that? Okay. Anything else from correspondence that council wants to bring forward for discussion? Councillor Jilek.
TR Cares. I have a couple of questions on that.
For discussion, seconder? Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Jilek.
I would just like to make sure that we can let Ms. Snyder know that we're good to go on that. And saying that, I'm guessing yes, because I'm looking at the approved exempt events list. And it's on there. And the question I would have, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm allowed to do this, but we've got the Tumbler Ridge Lions Club for the flea market listed on there, and as far as I know, they haven't done that for some time. So I was wondering, do we keep that on? Do we review this regularly? What's the deal?
Yeah, so my understanding in regards to the policy, staff will reach out to Ms. Snyder and let her, or make her aware that it is already part of the policy that it'll be waived unless there's a concern on they're looking for something else, and that would be brought forward back to council. In regards to removing organizations off here on certain things, and you mentioned the one there, for sure, it doesn't hurt to remove them. And the thing is, if they decide to do it, I mean, and I can't remember the last year they did it, and I think COVID's really put a damper on some of these things these clubs used to do. And maybe we'll see the flea market come back in the summertime. That was the last time they did it, and I think they were still up in the arms in regards to restrictions. But if council wants to remove it, we can just bring it to a P&P. And the same as if we wanted to add something, there's some, I mean, obviously, this was done from previous councils. This council's a new council with new fresh ideas. Doesn't mean that we can't bring it forward for discussion at a P&P. Okay, any more discussion in regards to the TR Cares? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Bylaws, due to not having a full council, we're gonna have to defer 8.1, the official community plan, bylaw number 707, 2022. Second for the deferral. Council Norbury. Any discussion? All in favor for the deferral? Carried. I guess just as staff, Mr. Orwell, we're good with the zoning amendment bylaw number though, right? Okay. So with the 8.2 zoning bylaw, or zoning amendment bylaw number 716, 2022, seeking adoption of the zoning amendment bylaw number 716, 2022, adoption by council. Recommendation, please. Councillor Nixon.
That the zoning amendment bylaw number 716, 2022 be adopted.
Seconder. Councillor Jilek. Discussion. Councillor Hoffman.
I was hoping to get a little background on like what the process was here. abilities are being restricted by it, but do we have a policy, or are we working on a policy on how we're going to allow these different zoning issues?
So just so council's aware too, I took an off request to speak, so just put your hand up, we'll just go to the mic for now, just because it keeps flashing up here, so. I can fill council in a bit and then go to staff. So this is in regards to lot expansions on district-owned land. So whether it's behind their residence or beside it, it comes before council, and it's discussed and moved either forward or not. And the initial part is always done enclosed due to it's a land sale. So I think we have multiple ones on the books right now that would be coming forward in regards to zoning. Right now, this is the one that's in front of us, but there is more. But I'll go to staff in regards to policy, because there's a policy how it's one-offs and stuff, but I'm not sure how much I can get into details. Ms. Torval.
Thank you. So with regard to a policy, and as the mayor has alluded to, there is a policy, a land sale policy, and this was included in the land sale policy to accommodate those residents wishing to expand their lots for domestic purposes. And so they do come back to council, and they are dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Some of these lot expansions you will see, we will need to do as an amendment to a zoning bylaw, because we're expanding, or they're expanding out into an area that has probably previously been zoned for something. Not all of them will a zoning requirement be required. So it is a case-by-case basis. On that note, I believe for the next meeting, there will be a report coming to council from our Director of Economic Development and Tourism regarding the lot expansions, and she's going to bring you up to date on the ones that's been done so far and the ones that are currently active files that we have. So,
You're all good, Councillor Hoffman? I'm good, thank you. Okay, Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. Just to add a little bit of background to the lot expansion on why it's been done. Residents have asked us to expand their lots, but also as in response to land encroachment. I know that I don't know if you've been following that we've had an organization come in, the Commissioner's Office, I believe, and they've been identifying areas that have been encroached upon, and trying to rein our community in on their expansion. But to do that, we need to have an outlet for them to rectify the situation, either move what they have back, or have the option to expand onto areas that potentially have buildings on. So just want to give a little bit of background there.
Appreciate that, Councillor Norbury. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing no other discussion, all in favor of the motion on the floor? Carried. New business, 2022 municipal election official results. Report dated November 21st, 2022 from interim CAO/Director of Corporate Services for the 2022 municipal election official results for information. Recommendation. Councillor Jilek.
That council receives the 2022 municipal election official results report from the chief election officer for information.
Seconder. Councillor Dusso. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, 9.2, District of Tunbridge Council appointments. Report dated November 21st, 2022, from the intern CAO, Director of Corporate Services. The District of Tunbridge Council appointments and discussion. I'm going to make the first recommendation. I've reached out to some councils already, so I'm going to put a recommendation on the floor that council appoints Councillor Noxana to the Northeast Regional Advisor Committee, and Councillor Julik as the alternate to the Northeast Regional Advisor Committee. Seconder. Councillor Norbury. Any discussion? Councillor Norbury.
Just hoping to hear from councillors. They're both copacetic with this. That's all. I just want to make sure. No offense, Mayor Kukalka, but it's just good to hear from the horse's mouth. I've learned
No
that
problem. So,
quite a bit.
so I'll be honest, I didn't reach out to Counselor Julick, and it was just a timing thing. But I did reach out to everybody that I'm gonna put the motions forward on. Okay, no more discussion, all in favor? Carried. Okay, I'm gonna move the next one, that's the council appoints Council Norbury to the Tunbridge Community Forest Board of Directors. Seconder. Councilor Naxana, thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. I put the third one, that council appoints Councilor Clickash. Oh, sorry, Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. I'd like to excuse myself as I have a pecuniary interest in the library.
Yep, sounds good, sorry. And he even gave me a heads up before the meeting and I forgot, so that's how it works. The council appoints Councillor Clickash to the Tunbridge Public Library Board and Councillor Dussault as the alternate to the Tunbridge Public Library Board. Seconder, please. Councillor Naxana. Discussion. So I apologize, Councillor Dussault, I never had a chance to reach out to you. I was away last week and very poor reception, so I'd be curious if you're good with that appointment.
I'm absolutely good with that, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. If there's no more, Councillor Julick.
What if an organization wants to have a liaison from council? Do they just write a letter to council? I've had an organization approach me about that, and I said, well, I'll ask at the next council meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we can chat after the meeting. I have a list from previous year. If they're not on there,
Okay.
we definitely need to look at adding them. The reason we appoint to the library board, the community forest, and NDIT are voting members. All other appointments will just be done in, I mean, obviously I plan on talking with the rest of the council first, and that's gonna stick you somewhere where you don't really wanna be. And those ones you're a non-voting member on, Geopark, Museum, and all them, so.
Okay.
But if they're not on the thing, I can maybe mention it to Ms. Torval, and then if it's not on our list, we can definitely bring it to a meeting and add them.
Okay, good. I'll talk to you about that afterwards then. Thanks.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Carried. If somebody could just reach Councilor Norbury, please. My apologies, Councilor Norbury. You gave me a heads up and I still missed it. So we'll move on to 9.3, temporary commercial and industrial use permit for Sharp/Jonestown. Report dated November 21st, 2022, from the Director of Economic Development and Tourism with the temporary commercial and industrial use permit for Sharp and Johnstone for council's approval. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
That council approves the temporary commercial use permit as presented.
I'd prefer if you read it out.
Yes. The council approves the temporary commercial use permit number TCUP-2211 for the property of Carrie Sharp and Jeremy Johnstone at 219 Quarry Crescent, Tumbler Ridge, BC, having the legal description of Lot 2, Plan BCP 22621DL3184 to conduct an agricultural zone business in an M1 zone up to 3 years, and that council directs staff to file a notice of the permit with the Land Title Office.
Seconder. Councillor Hoffman. Discussion. Councillor Julick.
Are they not operating already? That's the way I understood, is that they're actually out there operating, so I'm just wondering how this process works if they're,
Yeah, I'm not sure if staff can speak if they're operational or not, but again, I think that's from the staff side, but this is a process that we had to follow when they came forward to council, and this is the last step of that process. Staff, there's a question from council, I'm unaware of it. Not sure if staff's aware or not.
Thank you, council. I'm not aware of occupation out there at this time.
Okay, Councillor Julick.
so normally they wouldn't be entitled to operate until this was passed, just so I'm clear. I could be wrong with my information. I don't, I'm just saying that that's what I understood, but just so I know for future stuff.
Yeah, so again, this is part of the process. So yeah, you're 100% correct. It shouldn't be operational without the approval of this all going through. I mean, there's multiple steps that staff have to follow and then involve council in regards to the recommendations and moving it forward. Now, saying that, again, that's up to the individual owner, and I guess if bylaw was aware of it, I would imagine they would have a chat. And I believe the direction, and I wasn't part of the meetings with staff, I stayed out of it, but I have talked to these individuals when they first were looking at doing it, and I explained to them that there was a process that they could talk to staff and work through it. And I'm assuming staff direction to them would be the same way. Now, sometimes people do it, and I'm not saying they are, but I'm unaware of it, so. Any more discussion? Councillor Noxana.
We're just coming in sort of in the middle of this process, so I was just wondering, has there been any concerns or comments from neighboring properties? That's come up through the process?
Yeah, I'll go to staff, but we did get a hearing, like they sent it out to public consultation, and the last time we heard there was nothing come back, but Ms. Torval.
Thank you, council. No, there was nothing.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 9.4, 2023 council meeting schedule. Report dated November 21st, 2022 from the intern CAO with the 2023 council meeting schedule for council's discussion and recommendation. Take the recommendation. Councillor Julich.
That council receives the report from the interim chief administrative officer, director of corporate services, re 2023 council meeting schedule for discussion, and that council approves the 2023 council meeting.
Just hang on a second. We're going to move it for discussion first. We might make changes. So if we just do one, unless you're happy with it, then we just move forward. But I'm sure council would like to have a discussion, or we should move that part first. Okay, so seconder on that part, Councillor Noxana. All in favor for discussion? Carried. Anybody have any questions in regards to the council schedule? Councillor Julich.
The budget meeting, can we still zoom into those? There's a budget meeting that's scheduled for January something.
Yeah, so yeah, again, I mean, that's up to you if you want to mention the dates, but I personally don't say when I'm out of town.
Right.
But 100% we can zoom in. We have a policy that we can zoom in, or you can telephone call in to any meeting, including our closed.
Cool beans, thanks.
So if you're not going to be, if you're going to be away for a meeting, just make sure Ms. Torval is aware, and she'll send you the Zoom link as well as the conference call phone in. Sometimes you can't get to Zoom up or something, but just the staff. And just regards to the schedule, I'll just make a comment before I go rest of the council. We can always add meetings too, so, we see that there's 3 budget meetings here. I'll be honest, you're probably gonna see a few more meetings than that for budget. I mean, we still have a sit around for council to talk about strategic plans that council might wanna throw on a table or a board and look through. So just make sure we try to work, I mean, it's not just throw a meeting out and, you hope all councils can attend, so we try to work around that. So any more discussion in regards to the schedule that's in front of us? Okay, just give. Okay, I guess, Councillor Julich, if you'd like to make the other motion.
And that council approves the 2023 council meeting schedule as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Norbury. Discussion. Right, all in favor? Carried. 9.5, council travel, Premier BC Natural Resource Forum 2023. A report dated November 21st, 2022 from the Executive Assistant for the Council Travel, Premier's BC Natural Resource Forum 2023 for council's approval. Recommendation. Councillor Dussault.
That council approves travel costs associated to accommodate the mayor and 2 councillors' attendance of the Premier's BC Natural Resource Forum 2023 and will be held in Prince George, BC from January 17th, 2023 to January 19th, 2023.
Seconder. Councillor Julich. Discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. Is this an appropriate time to discuss who wants to go? I mean, I personally, I don't really feel the need to go, but I think or would you just prefer them to reach out to you and ask? Because, yeah, just kind of curious how you'd like that to go.
I was actually gonna bring it forward after discussion was opened up, if nobody brought it, but, if there's somebody that or councilors that would like to attend, this is, to me, a prime time to talk about it. I've already talked to Ms. Torval, I'm unaware if I'll actually be able to attend this date. I'm just waiting for my meeting schedule to come out in regards to, my personal life, so. So I'm not sure if council's aware, if they have the understanding of their schedule. I've never attended the, BC Natural Resource Forum, received a lot of emails from them in the last 2 days, but that's about it. Councilor Julik.
I'd be interested if, I'll put my name forward for it.
Thank you, Councilor Julik. Councilor Noxana.
I'm the same. If you need, if we're sending people, I'd definitely be interested in it, and I think it would be good for our community.
Okay. Any other councilor? Okay, so, we have a,
If we need a third.
Councilor Hoffman? Okay. Back to Ms. Torval. We don't need names exactly yet for hotels now, but we have possibly, we have 2 councilors for sure. If we haven't end up with Councilor Hoffman also on attending, we can also do a draw system or something like that for the 2 councilors if I'm able to make it, and if not, my understanding, I guess, get the feel of council, but if the mayor can't make it, I don't see why we couldn't send 3 councilors.
Possibly, yes, that's correct. And we put this on the agenda early so that we can get you registered to get that early bird discount for the registration. And definitely the hotels, we can book them in a name and just hold the hotels. And yeah, we can start the preparations for that.
Okay, appreciate that. Any more discussion with the motion on the floor? Okay, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Schedule of meetings. Is there any concern from council side in regards to the meetings that are scheduled for December? And we've already approved January. Councilor Nobre.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. It's a nitpicky thing, but I just want to ask staff on the November, well, we're already at the November, but the December 5th and 12th meetings, it also says they're at 8 a.m.? They're not at 8 a.m., correct? Thank you. I figured as much, but, just want to, I will likely have somebody ask me, are you meeting at 8? No, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's just a misprint there in regards to 8 a.m. Must just pick something else up. Because even the district party says 8 a.m. and I guess that was a misprint, which is fine. Any other concerns from council in regards to December's meeting schedule? Okay. Moving on to notice of motion. Does any councillor have a notice of motion? Okay. Councillor's business. Councilor Nobre.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. So I have a couple of things, so maybe I'll do one and we'll see if anybody else wants to go. But the first thing I want to talk about is I've spoken with Lynette from the YMCA, Lynette Mickelson, excuse me, and she informed me that they have been approved for $10 a day daycare. So super exciting for our community. The YMCA is taking over operations of the daycare as of December 1st. So this is, this should be coming into play. Now, I am unaware of how somebody can sign up for that, what the process is, but I mean, I'm sure if individuals want to know, they can contact the Children's Center and they can direct them towards that. But big, great news for people, yeah.
Great news. Okay, go ahead, Councilor Nobre, you have the floor.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to update council on is the South Peace Health Services Society. Before we were sworn in, we did have a meeting. And so just for people, if they are unaware of what the South Peace Health Services Society is, it's a society that is, mandate is for doctor recruitment and retention in the region. And we've been working on the Bultrees House project, which is a Ronald McDonald style accommodation in Dawson Creek for traveling medical appointments. We are near completion. We've said we're near completion multiple times, but we really are near completion. We have all the funding. We are working with with Celtic Construction to finish that, And I'm not sure if I did mention it last time I reported, but we were in discussions with the Ministry of Health and, well, we're actually in discussion with a few people about how we're going to operate it and who's going to run it. Well, we have received word that the Ministry of Health is going to fund the operation of the Baltrees House, and that's going to flow through our society, well, the society, and then we are going to be contracting it out to the South Peace Society for Community Living, I believe it's called, and they're going to be creating a position there for us to manage the operations, because they're going to need somebody there 24 hours a day or a certain amount of time to handle intakes, outtakes, laundry, stuff like that. So really excited about that project almost getting done. It's something that we've been working on for years and years, and Dale Bumstead has been an absolute asset to that committee to move it forward, and we're looking forward to getting on back to the primary purpose of the committee of doctor recruitment and retention for our region. So, you know, we definitely want to stay on board there so that we can also gain benefits that they are offering out. Yeah, and then the last thing I have to talk about is just the mayor's food drive. It was a few hours. I mean, we did the best that we could, and there were some cold and tired rangers by the end of it, but everyone soldiered on, and we managed to hit almost every single house in Tumbler Ridge. At least I know that our groups were knocking on doors. We had, you know, firefighter Notley in the audience was, you know, storming down those roads, and you know, we had a good turnout, and you know, thank you to the firefighters and the food bank and district staff for organizing that. It's definite need in our community. So.
Appreciate that. Any more council business? Councilor Julik.
I just wanted to apologize to staff that I won't be able to be at the Christmas party and help you celebrate on December 2nd. I think it'll be a nice party after a couple, 3 years of not being able to do it, and I'm sorry I'm going to miss it, because staff's a pretty big, important part of our town running as smoothly as it does, so I hope you all have a lot of fun, and hopefully next year I'll get to be there.
Any more councilors' business? Councilor Norbury, I appreciate the update in regards to South Peace. I know Dale Bumstead reached out to me, and I apologize if you weren't aware of it previous to you having that meeting, but I was reached out fairly early on how the operation was going to be covered. So it's fantastic news. I think it's fantastic news, not only for our region, but for the society itself. One less thing you guys got to worry about. So I know Mr. Bumstead is also, if he hasn't reached out to staff, will be to come up as a delegation in regards to all that. So council will be brought up to speed in regards to it, as well as if there's anything else needed from the district, because I know we were a 3-year commitment in regards to funding, to assist the funding there. So we'll go from there. I want to apologize to all of council and the staff and the local fire department for not being able to make the mayor's food drive. I apologize, but I was away, and my holidays were booked well in advance, a year in advance. So again, thanks to the volunteer fire department, staff, the junior rangers, any council that could make it, and to our community to donate. So we all know what the need is, and Councilor Norbury, thanks for the update there. All right, question and answer period. Ms. Torval, did you receive anything via email?
No, I haven't.
Thank you. So just sure, so council's aware, I mean, I understand some have attended meetings, but so some residents will talk to you, they won't be able to make the meeting. They can definitely email questions to our intern CAO of the agenda items, not from weeks ago. And it has to be a question and not a opinion. So, resolution to close meeting. Take a recommendation, please. Councilor Dusso.
That the November 21st, 2022 council meeting be closed to the public to permit discussion of items related to labor relations or other employee relations pursuant to subsection 91C of the Community Charter, and information that is prohibited or information that, if it were presented in document, would be prohibited from disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act pursuant to subsection 91J of the Community Charter.
Seconder. Councilor Knox. All in favor? Carried. 5-minute recess.